Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Arunashri. I'm thrilled to share my ninth lecture with you all. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notification so you never miss out any upcoming lectures and discussions. Without any further delay, let's get started. Our ninth lecture will be Get and Post Request. So, what do you mean by GET request? A GET request is used to retrieve the data from the specified resources. It is used to retrieve the data. It is used to take the data from the specified resources by sending the GET request to it. And what is the purpose of a GET request means? GET request is used to request the data from the server. For example, a client and the server will be there, right? From the client, it will send the request data from to the server. Okay, it's like asking a information, like similarly to the reading a book from a library. Okay, so it means the GET method, which is asking the request from the server, and it is asking the reading a book from a library. So that is an example. Like this purpose we are using. Next, data handling. Data is sent in the URL as a query parameter. So data will be sent in the form of URL. If you have any query to the server, it is sent to the data in the form of URL. Limited amount of the data can be sent. If I send the request in the form of URL, it will send only limited amount of the data. Okay, and data visible in the URL. Our data, what we want, so that data will be visible in the URL, but it might not be a secure. Okay, it might be a secure, it might not be a secure for a sensitive information. Then a GET request is used to retrieve the data from the specified resource. We already know that. Catching means storing. So responses can be catched by the browser and other intermediaries. For example, if I am talking with some other any traveler or tourist person, so he might be the other state. I am from the Karnataka. So if I'm requesting that person, so where you need to go, where you want to go, so like that, if I am requesting to that person, if he don't know my language, then the other third party like intermediates or any some other persons will come and ask. So what's your problem? What you are asking? So like that, if the GET request will send the request to the server, so that time any intermediate responses or any browser will catch that information. Okay, so that is nothing but catching means some other intermediate person can storing the information. Then subsequent identical GET request might not hit the server. Catch data might be used. So directly the GET request, it might be or might not be hit the server. Might not be moved to the server, but catch data will use that request. Catch data will get the information what the data GET request needs. Okay. Then where we are using this GET request will be used for the fetch data like web pages, images, and other resources. So we are using the get data to fetch the web pages and images, other resources. Okay, other resources are like XML, JSON. So some other data, some other information safe to be used for retrieving the data as it does not change the server state. So if the GET request which does not change the person, for example, I'm the person from Karnataka and other person from other state. So that person, that if I didn't change that server name, so it is a safe to share my data or share my information with him. Okay, and it is a safe to retrieve the data from it also. Then move on to the overall view of GET request, what we did now. So purpose. So it is used to request the data from a specified resources, and it is used for retrieving the data from web pages, JSON, XML, images from the server. Then what and all parameters we are using here? We included URL, right? So URL for the query string, and parameters are visible to the users, and it can be bookmarked or shared. Then, caching. GET request can be cached by the browser or any intermediate server like CDN, and cached responses can improve the performance by reducing the server load and network latency for subsequent identical request. Then, caching. So catching we already did, right? Then safety. So consider the safe because it does not change the state of the server. It should not be used for operations that modify the data on the server like post, put, delete. So such operations it will not able to do. Then examples of usage means fetching the search result from the search engine and loading the images, tiles, script from the web page, or retrieving the data from the API to display the web page. Then move on to the post request. The post request is used to submit the data to be processed in the specified resource. It is used, why it is used means to submit the data. If I am asking any data, it will submit the data from that specified resource. So that is nothing but post request. Then the purpose of post request will be it is used to send the data to the server to create or update the resource. It is used to send the data from the server, and it helps to if you want to create or if you want to update any resources to the server, it will help. And it's like a submitting a form with your details. So submitting a form with your details is like application form, your name, your country, your religion. So that is all the details, your phone number, your parent number. So that is all the details. This submitting the form with your details. So that is a post request, and that data will be stored in a server side. Then data handling. Data is a sent in the data is a sent in the request body. If I send my data in the request body means it is a security, right? So if I store somewhere my data, so it will needs better security, and can send a larger amount of the data as compared to the get, because we are in a get we are using the URL, right? But here we are not using URL, and it is the data which is not visible in the URL, so it will store the large amount of the data as compared to the get, and it will provide the better security for sensitive information. Then, catching. Responses are usually not catched by default. So responses, if I'm requesting some other person is not able to understand my language, right? So that responses are not catched by default. So the person what he is telling, I can understand because he might be using English language. So sometimes the person what he is telling I might be understand, and it is not catched by any other catchings like by default. Each post request typically result in the unique response. So whatever he is telling with the unique letters or unique words to understand what I'm asking, and to understand what he is telling to me. Okay. Then usage scenario. Where we are using this post request means we are using to create a new records, submitting forms, uploading files, and making changes that modify the server state. Means new records means we are storing all the information in the server side. So that is like one record, right? And submitting forms like application form, Google form, some other teacher student login form. So those are the forms. So submitting the forms like this and uploading the files, any new files I need to upload. So that will be stored in a server side, and making the changes that modify the server side. If any changes I make, so that changes what I made, so that will be stored in a server state. It is used when you need to send the data that will be processed or saved in the server side. When I need to send the data from the process, if when I need to send the data, so that will be processed and saved on the server side. Then the overall post request view. So purpose, it is used to submit the data to be processed to specified resource. Okay, it helps to submit the data. Typically used for creating a new resource, submitting form and updating data, etc. Then what are the parameters we use? The parameters include in the request body, usually in the JSON or form data format. Parameters are not visible in the URL and are not catched by any browsers or any intermediates. Then data length. Post request can carry a large amount of data as compared to the get request, right? It is suitable for submitting forms with sensitive or large data, file uploads, etc. Then idempotency. Idempotency is a post request are not idempotent, but get request will be idempotent. Idempotent meaning it will repeat the identical request may have different effects. Then security consideration. Here more security will be there by using HTTPS for post request to encrypt the data it transmit. So validate and sanitize user input on the server side, but preventing the security like SQL ingestion, excesses, attacks, etc. Examples of the usages like submitting a forms with the username and the password and uploading a file to the server and creating a new record in the website. So this is a complete detail about the post request. I would also like to express my appreciation and gratitude to the audience for their time and attention and engagement during the session. Your presence and participation have truly encouraging me. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot.